The music provided for this episode of the Tom Retro Chronicle is brought to you by the song called Freedom, the Beach Blanket Mix by the artist called Mana Junkie. To check out more Podscape music, check out dig.ccmixter.org. Yes, sir. A 1, a 2, a 3, 4, 5. It is the Tom Retro Chronicle with your host called Tom Retro.
Looking good, baby!
Tom Retro is also known as the Retro Guy and has a very interesting angle on things like sports, music, movies, books, and pretty much mostly life. He has a WordPress account, a very funny Twitter account, and overall a very interesting guy. Yeah. And also has very interesting interviews like me, Arnold Schwarzenegger, yeah. So let's head it to our very own very special host called Tom Retro. And hello there, and welcome to episode 22 of the Tom Retro Chronicle, the podcast that never ends. Welcome, my friends, to the show that never ends. And I am taping this on a very cloudy afternoon here in the old Fargo, North Dakota. It's Wednesday, May 1st. It's May Day of the year 2013. So happy May Day to you and to you all out there. So anyway, I got a fun-filled show packed up here for you all. I'm gonna be talking about some NBA playoffs. So far, my thoughts on that. So he's trying to think of something else, but the post Packers NFL draft, what I think about our draft picks and such. Let's see, what else? Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. There might be some sort of voicemail. I think there must be some sort of voicemail on my thing here that's beeping or something like that. So, anyway, gonna probably do that towards the end of the podcast episode. Today is pretty much my last day of being unemployed. I recently went in for an interview about a couple weeks ago at our local Kohl's store. So, and I pretty much got the job. Pretty much last Friday. So, I pretty much accepted the job. In general, I'm pretty excited. Pretty excited to work for Kohl's. I think it's going to be a lot more better, or grammatically speaking, I think it's going to be better than Herberger's. Excuse me. It's probably going to be better than Herberger's for reasons because I don't know. In terms of working for Herberger's, I thought for a starter job in retail. I thought it was a not bad job for a guy like me that's trying to get into retail business as somewhat of a secondary thing. I'm still trying to look for the radio gig, but it's still not. It's still not really there yet. So I'm still pursuing that. just so you know about that. Um, I probably should have told you all this about a month ago. Once I started back up with this whole podcast, that the reasons why I left, and pretty much the reason why I didn't decide to do that was because I still felt a little bit bitter about it, so I didn't really want to talk about it all that much. But I guess I could probably find time to talk about it right now. So, um, basically, the biggest reason why I left Herber's was because the whole job title of sales associate there was a bit much. You know, I mean, maybe if you've worked, maybe if you work there, perhaps maybe as a former employee, there you probably agree that um, pretty much your loss prevention, at least you're part of loss prevention. Um, you're pretty much the cashier. You have to handle returns, your customer service, you're pretty much a lot of things, and for pretty much $8 an hour, it just felt like, I don't know. It just felt like it was a little bit too much for me to handle. I believe I told a few of you that I used to work at the Fargo Country Club, and pretty much last July into October, late October, but pretty much the pay for that one was $8.25, which is actually pretty good. For $8.25 an hour just to be a dishwasher, just to clean up with the cooks, the cooking tools, the putting away the pots and plates, silverware. It was a pretty good job. I thought it was. It's not just a desk job by any stretch of the imagination, but I thought it was a pretty good job for me to do. Pretty much the only reason why I left that job was because pretty much most of the people there, they're senior citizens. They tend to go south for the winter, and most of them do that pretty much by the time I left. Pretty much around October, they usually head south to maybe like their timeshare condos in Florida or Arizona or in the Gulf Coast. So in general, the less people that come into the country club to eat or play a round of golf, pretty much less opportunity for me to put in hours in, and it was pretty rough. So in general, I think going back to Kohl's, I think it's going to be a lot more fun and a lot less stressful on my part. It's essentially the job title is POS associate, which is basically point of sale associate, who basically handles the cash register, which is essentially the old-fashioned term of what a POS is. So, plus Kohl's has a customer service area where they handle returns and such. So, at least I won't exactly have to deal with that area of the job. So, I remember what the rate of pay is for that, but for the POS associate title. But in general, as long as it's minimum wage, I couldn't say no to it. So anyway, Anyway, let's get to talking to a bit about some NBA playoffs and how my predictions are going. So, for those who still remember that I posted some NBA playoff predictions as well as awards predictions, and so far I'm doing all right with the awards predictions. Um, Pretty much the sixth man of the year, I wrote down that J.R. Smith would win that award, and it looks like he has won that by a pretty good margin. So, and then for defensive player of the year, I put down LeBron James. Um, but the voters ended up going with Marc Gasol from the Grizzlies to win that award as well. Um, then I wrote down that Paul George would win the Most Improved Player award, and he won that by a pretty good margin against Grievous Vasquez of New Orleans. And so far I am 2 out of 3 for that. So not too bad, I suppose. But um, also another award that somehow I missed was Sportsman of the Year, which I guess that doesn't really count as a certain award that most basketball purists would suggest that would become worthy of the NBA award lexicon, I suppose. But so anyway, so on to some NBA playoff prediction and some prediction results, and pretty much I started off with the Western Conference. So I wrote down that I had the Thunder beating the Rockets in 4 games, and obviously you can pretty much tell that pretty much the Thunder pretty much without Westbrook are pretty much a whole different team, and basically it's Durant pretty much trying to handle the load that would normally put him and Westbrook together in equal footing. So that was pretty much a bad mistake on my part. I mean, the Thunder were up 3-1, 3-0 by the time Westbrook got injured. So I guess you can maybe give me a little bit some leeway on that, but I'm probably not going to take any leeway for that. So my bad. Then I had the Clippers beating the Grizzlies in 6 games. The Grizzlies ended up winning Game 5 to go up 3-2 against the Clippers. So that prediction was bad too. So I'm not sure if the Clippers will. The series itself could probably get to 7 games by no problem. But then I have the Nuggets and the Warriors. And the Warriors, I wrote down I have the Warriors in 7. So that prediction is still that prediction is still up in the air. I think in terms of the Nuggets playing dirty against the Warriors last night, I look at the whole entire series being pretty physical. I mean, the Warriors were getting physical pretty much from the series on,
And pretty much the Nuggets' response was like, "Hey, you know what? We can play physical too. It's not just you guys. I mean, you guys have Stephen Curry. I mean, he's a star and all, but we can play rough too, even without a star." So anyway, that prediction is still right there. Then I have the Spurs. Then I had the Spurs beating the Lakers in 5 games, which I guess it was correct on the Spurs part, but in terms of the amount of games, I thought it would take at least 5 games for the Spurs to beat the Lakers. I thought when I wrote down the whole post, I thought the Lakers could possibly steal one from the Spurs. Maybe it was either going to be in San Antonio or in the Staples Center in Los Angeles, but I didn't really count on Dwight Howard's play in Game 4 to pretty much disintegrate any hope of the Lakers' chances of trying to get back in the series and try to steal one. Because without Kobe, I mean, who else do they have that's possible as their savior? I mean, Nash. I believe Nash played a couple of games in the series, but he ended up getting injured. So it was really pretty much up to Dwight Howard and Pau Gasol to carry the load, carry the team, and pretty much by Game 4, it was pretty much inevitable that the Lakers would be pretty much doomed to destruction. So a lot of people are talking about whether if Dwight Howard should stay in Los Angeles or he should just pack up and go. And my take on it is I'm not really sold. I'm not really sold on Dwight Howard as of right now. His defense to me is pretty much bar none one of the best in the league. He has size. He has size. He has certainly the height advantage over some sort of people. So, but I think his offense hasn't really changed all that much since he really became a player in the league. I mean, pretty much, certainly you would expect that him going to the Lakers would help his offense out quite a bit, but he hasn't really changed his offense. I mean, on Sunday, Shaq and Shaquille O'Neal and Charles Barkley were talking about how his offense hasn't really improved, that he doesn't know how to post up. And it was very interesting. It was very interesting points. I don't know. Certainly, you could make a case that Dwight Howard should come back to the Lakers because he is pretty much, other than Kobe, he's probably the best player on the Lakers roster. So my case against it is that he hasn't done anything to really suggest that he deserves to come back for another year. But my concern is that pretty much during the whole summer in LA, Dwight's gonna be like, well, I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure if I'm gonna go to LA. Um, I don't know. It's gonna be. I feel it's gonna be like all back and forth, back and forth. Uh, and if you're a Magic, if you're a fan of the Orlando Magic, you would absolutely pretty much agree with me that pretty much Dwight Howard's a flip flopper. Excuse me. But anyway, um, onto the Eastern Conference. Um, so um, pretty much the prediction that I got right, which was pretty easy when you really think about it. I had the Heat beating the Bucks in 4, and it pretty much ended up being like that. So then I have the Nets beating the Nets beating the Bulls in 7. Um, the Nets, the Brooklyn Nets, won Game 5 without the Bulls having Kirk Heinrich, and it could possibly end up being ending up being a 7-game series. It could shape up like that. I mean, unless the Bulls end up getting pretty lucky with their healthy bodies, number of healthy bodies, to get really all that physical with the Nets. I don't see really the Bulls winning the series, but they've surprised us before. But I'm not going to say anything about that. But let's see here. Trying to remember. Then I had the Pacers beating the Hawks in 6. Let's see here. I haven't really been paying attention to the Hawks and Pacers series all that much because it hasn't been really on TV for a whole lot of games. But let's see. It looks like. Looks like a Game 5 is on tonight. It's probably going to be on NBA TV, but if the Pacers can pull off Game 5 and then win Game 6, they could probably match that prediction as well. And then I have the Knicks beating the Celtics in 5. The Celtics ended up winning Game 4. Game 5 is tonight on TNT. It's going to be the first game of their doubleheader. I believe the second game of their doubleheader is on the Rockets and Thunder series. So that should be pretty interesting. So in general, it's not too bad on predictions, I suppose, so far. So anyway, let's get on to the next topic, which is my overall thoughts on the Packers draft. So pretty much the NFL draft has been pretty much done for pretty much this year. So anyway, my team, the Green Bay Packers, pretty much going into this draft, they re-signed Clay Matthews to a pretty good deal with a lot of money, and then they re-signed Aaron Rodgers for 5 years, and it was pretty much a pretty happy moment for Packers fans. To see that pretty much our quarterback of the future to basically become a quarterback that's going to be around for quite a long time. So pretty much those two things were pretty much the biggest news excuse me, going into this draft. So, um, you know, basically the offseason moves that some of our key losses was basically obviously um, releasing um, Charles Woodson, who was our cornerback, um, who was basically our captain for defense, and then pretty much Greg Jennings signing a free agent contract to go to the Minnesota Vikings. Um, that was pretty big. That was a pretty big loss for us. So pretty much with all those two things, I thought we still had pretty good chance of making the postseason, and pretty much going into the draft, I felt that we needed to get some more defensive help to shore up our defense, because our defense last season was it was better, but it needed more improvement. And pretty much as far as the defense of 2 years ago, when our defense was ranked, I believe it was 31st in the league, I think. So, and pretty much our defense last year was somewhere ranked in the pretty much towards the middle. Yeah, it was a top 15 defense last season. So I felt we need to get back to pretty much where we were when we won the Super Bowl in 2010. So I thought 2010-2011 season, excuse me, but I felt that we needed to get some more defensive help, and another thing that we needed to look at was try to get a running back, because our running back situation was getting pretty ugly. I felt that, I thought Cedric Benson would probably help us out quite a little bit in the season, and then he got injured, and pretty much after that, we had to go with quite a few running backs for just to try to help Aaron out and try to keep the defense preoccupied and trying to stop Aaron Rodgers. And pretty much without a good running game, your offense is pretty much one-dimensional, and pretty much once you're one-dimensional offense, pretty much the defense pretty much figures out that, hey, we're gonna blitz you with maybe 4 or 5 guys going into the box, and we're gonna try to ram you so hard that you might get injured. So, but I thought a running back would probably help us out quite a bit. Thought maybe some offensive line help would also help out and protect our investments from injuries. So, other than Rodgers, I don't know who else is a quality quarterback that could probably handle the load of being a starter for the Packers. So, we have to protect our investment. Some other things I thought we could probably also possibly look at was wide receivers. Our receiving core, pretty much after the retirements of Driver, the release of the free agency loss to Greg Jennings, I felt that our receiving core was still pretty good. We have James Jones, we had Jordy Nelson, then we have Jermichael Finley as the tight end. Not the hugest Finley fan, but if he makes a catch, You can definitely bet that he will take it. Um, you can probably bet that he'll take it by quite a few yards. So I don't know. Maybe the other thing was maybe possibly look at try to get some secondary help. Our secondary was I thought our secondary was all right, but maybe we could possibly get someone to compete for the job with MD Jennings, Morgan Burnett. So so maybe those things probably would have helped. But taking a look at our draft of this year, in the first round we took Dayton Jones, a defensive end out of UCLA, and I thought it was a pretty good pick. I mean, in terms of late round pick, I thought, this, I thought this guy would help out BJ Raji, so that BJ Raji doesn't have to get double teamed a whole lot. And I thought he would basically help us out with pass rush, trying to get to the quarterback, try to pressure him, because once we pressure the quarterback, pretty much a million things goes into the opponent's quarterback's head, saying that I have to get rid of this ball, and pretty much a rush decision helps our linebackers, our secondary. It makes us so much better, and I believe that I mentioned that last season, before the regular season happened. So then in the second round, we took Eddie Lacy out of Alabama as our running back, and I definitely like the pick. I also like the pick as well. So we had to pick a running back, and pretty much it was either Monte Ball or Eddie Lacy to become our next possible running back. And I swore if we didn't take Eddie Lacy in the second round, I would absolutely go on a tirade. I would have been so mad, but in the end we did take Lacy, and I was pretty happy about it. So, and then we didn't have any picks in the third round, but we did have 3 picks in the fourth round. We picked let's see, we did pick out quite a few offensive linemen. We took David Bakhtari. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but he's the offensive tackle out of Colorado. Definitely a good pick as well. So, and then the second fourth round pick that we took was J.C. Treader out of Cornell. Certainly the Ivy League. Certainly, Ivy League schools are getting a little bit some love. And then our third, fourth round pick was Jonathan Franklin, who was also a running back out of UCLA. So definitely a lot of UCLA players on this draft, and definitely a second string, possibly a third string running back. From the way I see it is that if Lacy is healthy to start the regular season, he'll possibly be the number 1 running back, and possibly Alex Green could possibly be our running back. James Starks could possibly be our running back, and then possibly Franklin, maybe fourth. But then we took a couple of defensive players in the fifth round. We took Um, let's see, Micah Hyde of Iowa, who was the corner, and then we took Josh Boyd out of Mississippi State, who was a defensive tackle. Um, so some possible choices for Dom Capers to pick around as well. So then the only pick in the 6th round that we took was Nate Palmer, who is in the outside linebacker out of Illinois State. Excuse me. Good God. So again, a little bit more defensive help for us as well. So, and then we had 3 picks to finish off the 7th round and final round. We took Charles Johnson, the wide receiver out of Grand Valley State. Could be a steal, who knows? But not saying that he's going to be a steal or not. But then we took another wide receiver in Kevin Dorsey out of Maryland. Again, possibly some more. Again, a possible maybe number 4 or 5 wide receiver slot, but who knows. Then our final pick was Sam Barrington out of South Florida, who was also inside linebacker. So, in terms of the draft itself, I thought the Packers did actually pretty good. It was actually a really good draft. In terms of grade, I've read a lot of people say that the Packers they had a pretty much an A average grade, and I pretty much agree with that. I think it was more of an A minus, or maybe a little bit of A minus grade, but it could be interesting. It could be an interesting year. In terms of grade, in terms of looking at towards the my prediction for this upcoming season, I might get to that maybe towards July, maybe, but I'm not gonna speculate on that for quite a while. I'm sure a lot of people are talking about it already, but I'm not gonna talk about it at least until towards July, once I start up my podcast again, sometime around July, when the NFL training camps start to open up, and then I'll probably speculate to talk about our prediction. So anyway, in terms of that topic, I'm gonna just leave it at that. See, it looks like I do have a voicemail, and we'll take a look at that next. So the voicemail that I mentioned before is pretty much it's a message from pretty much a good friend of ours. If you've listened to the show pretty often, the voicemail is by Arnold Schwarzenegger. Not sure what he's going to talk about, but we'll have to pretty much have to see what his reaction or what his thoughts are. So here we go.
Hey, what how's it going? This is Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah. How hope you're doing? I'm pretty good. Just wanted to call you about the San Diego Chargers draft grade. My thoughts on the draft, on the Chargers draft. You know, I'm not sure about the fluke pick coming out of Alabama in the first round. He could possibly be be a girly man, but you know what? I like offensive linemen because they're so big, just like me back in the 70s. But yeah, ah, I'm not sure about the Manti pick. He could possibly be a girly man, but with the right coaches, with the right coaches and such, he could possibly be the next Junior Seau, and that's coming from a Chargers fan who watched the Chargers in the 1994-95 Super Bowl against the San Francisco 49ers, and we pretty much got clobbered by them. Yeah. In terms of the other draft picks that we took, I think Keenan Allen coming out of California, the place where I governed, the state where I governed, I think he'll be a good choice. He'll be a good choice for us. Take a look, maybe possibly some other picks. Definitely a lot of California stuff. In terms of draft grade, I'm giving a B because B is for girly men, and I don't like girly men. Yeah, I'm not really sure what else to say. RG mentioned that you're watching my movie True Lies. Very good movie by me. Jamie Lee Curtis was so sexy in that movie. Yeah. Oh, yeah, she was so sexy. I didn't want her to be my wife though. Don't worry. Especially after the Activia commercials. Oh man. But she's still a good friend though. And I don't have any sexual relations with her. Yeah. Not sure what else to say. Go Judges. Yeah. Bye. Bye.
Wow, interesting. That's, I think the Chargers, the Chargers could possibly be, quite possibly be a good, team coming in into this season. I'm not sure about the Broncos. I think the Broncos are pretty much the heavy favorites to win it all in this upcoming season. But that's pretty early prediction coming out of my mouth in early May, when basically most training camps don't start until July. So still got quite a couple months before the season starts. So yeah, I did watch True Lies. It was pretty much my favorite movie of yours, Arnold, if you're listening to the podcast right now. So yeah, so apologize if he talked a little bit loud. So I apologize for that. But that's pretty much Arnold's way to speak. So his tone is pretty heavy. So anyway, in terms of this episode, I'm pretty much done with it. So I'll probably do another podcast maybe sometime next week, possibly. It's kind of more up in the air, so we'll have to see what happens with that. So thanks for listening to the Tom Retro Chronicle, episode 22, and we'll see you all possibly next week. Later.
Freedom is singing. Freedom is living. Freedom is waking. Freedom is me.